We pray that tonight, Father, that you would be known in this place, God, as we are trailblazers in the Spirit, Father, of making a way for others to come to know you, Father, in this place 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, that they would come into this house right here, Father, and encounter you and meet you. So, Lord, would you fill us up? Would you meet with us tonight? And would tonight be a holy moment? In your name we pray.
The Nathan Initiative to us is more than brick and mortar. It's about God's eternal purposes. Releasing our hearts to God and sowing into His kingdom and expecting a harvest.
The Lord is really changing my perspective on going from a heart of poverty and like living out of this poverty mentality to living out of abundance and knowing that I'm a child of God and I get to live out of abundance.
Through the Nathan Initiative, the Lord's been teaching me about how He's a provider, and He's been uprooting fear in my life and in my heart about financially. I've just been like saving, and money's been like, oh, like what if this happens and what if this happens, especially being a college student and only working like over the summers and over breaks. But the Lord has just really spoken to me like, you don't have to worry about tomorrow. Like tomorrow's going to worry about itself, and like I'm gonna get you and I'm gonna cover you and I'm gonna provide for you. Like the birds and like the flowers, they don't worry about what they wear, and like they don't worry about where their next meal is gonna come from, and like I still take care of them.
The Nathan Initiative is sort of submitting our entire lives to God as a sacrifice and worship. Paul says in Romans 12 to submit ourselves as a living sacrifice, which is pleasing and acceptable to God. And to me recently, just creating a life of worship and having just every aspect of my life, not just finances or what I do in public, but just like even the mundane things, creating that and making that into a worshipful space and really giving every aspect to God.
For me, it means to be just, the Lord has freely given to us, and so we are called to freely give back to Him. And for us, we have been in a lot of debt moving from Hawaii to Fort Worth, and we never gave it at that 10% level, and the Lord has really called us to give at that 10%. And for us, it's a huge push being in so much debt, but the Lord has changed our heart, and we are so happy to give it back to Him and just to see what He's going to do in this time, 2 years and even beyond, for our family and what He has called for us, what He's called for Antioch and Fort Worth, in the state of Texas and around the world. And we are just excited to be a part of it, and just so very thankful.
Well, growing up, like going to church and stuff, tithing or giving to the church was more of just like, let's put the money in the bucket and pass it on. And when Jamie brought up the Nathan Initiative, it just was something that like really stirred in my heart with the idea of like giving to the church and glorifying the Lord rather than just feeling like doing it out of obligation. And just the factor too, like being a college student, being able to give to the church in like that capacity of like pouring into others and giving just time and serving the Lord through that as well.
Talked about saying that they had a number in their head. I feel like the Lord just put a different number on both of our hearts, and we wrote it down, we texted it to each other, and she had written out the same amount.
For our kids who wanted to join in, Kate wanted to share a verse, and she wrote it out. She wrote it on the wall. Outside of the church, because she wasn't clear on the instruction, but it was Proverbs 17:17. What is that verse?
A friend loves at all times.
That's right. So we're excited to see the new friendships that'll be made in this new building in this season.
The Nathan Initiative is just a new way to reshape what I think of generosity. It's really just changed how I view like tithing in regards to it's not always having to be money, because as a college student I don't have a job, like I don't have a salary, so what I can really give is my time and energy to people.
And I can remember sitting in this cafeteria with my family and just thinking about how God just showed me then when I was a little girl that He was going to use me in a powerful way to make His kingdom and His glory and His presence known to many people. And here, full circle, we're back here doing it, living it, breathing it. It's all about Him.
It really is a thin place between heaven and earth. It's a holy moment. God, we're still trying to figure out who we are and what you have for us, but we know we want to start off saying that we're all in.